The hotel clerk smiled, slid the key cards across the counter, and said, "Enjoy your stay. 1 king room for 2 nights." I laughed because I assumed she'd made a mistake. Then I looked at my best friend. He didn't laugh. Instead, he rubbed the back of his neck, avoided my eyes, and quietly admitted, "I only booked 1 bed." For a second, I just stared at him. After 6 hours of driving through heavy rain, surviving 2 flat tires, and living on gas station coffee, the last thing I wanted was another problem. "You booked 1 king bed?" I asked. He nodded. "I thought there were 2 queens." "You thought?" "I'm sorry." The silence between us suddenly felt heavier than our luggage. My name is Ethan, and my best friend, Noah, had been like a brother to me since middle school. We had survived terrible apartments, low-paying jobs, broken relationships, and more bad decisions than either of us cared to admit. We'd never had a serious fight. Until that hotel lobby. "You seriously didn't check?" I asked. "I booked it months ago." "And never looked at the confirmation?" "No." I sighed hard enough for the clerk to hear. She looked uncomfortable. "I'm really sorry," Noah said. I believed he was. But I was exhausted. The hotel was completely sold out because a national youth robotics competition had filled every room within 50 miles. The clerk checked 3 different times. No vacancies anywhere nearby, she apologized. So there we were. 1 room. 1 king bed. 2 grown men. Neither thrilled about the situation. The elevator ride was painfully quiet. When we opened the room door, it somehow looked even smaller than the photos online. 1 giant bed sat perfectly centered. No couch. No rollaway. Just 1 tiny chair near the window. I dropped my backpack. "This is unbelievable." Noah stood by the door. "I'll sleep on the floor." "You don't have to." "I do. The floor looks like concrete." "I deserve it." His voice wasn't defensive. It was defeated. That surprised me. Usually Noah joked his way through everything. Not today. He quietly grabbed the extra blanket from the closet and spread it across the carpet without another word. I watched him for a moment. Then I looked around. The room suddenly reminded me of something. 15 years earlier. Our first apartment. 1 mattress. No furniture. No money. Just 2 broke friends trying to survive. Back then we hadn't cared. So why was I suddenly acting like this was some personal betrayal? Still, frustration lingered. I showered first. When I came out, Noah was sitting by the window staring into the parking lot. "You okay?" I asked. He forced a smile. "Yeah." But it wasn't convincing. We ordered pizza. Barely talked. Watched half a baseball game without paying attention. Around midnight I woke up. The room was dark. Noah wasn't on the floor. For a split second I panicked. Then I noticed the bathroom light. The door was slightly open. He was sitting on the closed toilet seat with his face in his hands. Not crying exactly. Just exhausted. "You okay?" I whispered. He looked up quickly. "Sorry. Didn't mean to wake you." "What are you doing?" "Couldn't sleep." I walked inside. "You've been in here?" "About an hour." "Why?" He hesitated. Then he said something I wasn't expecting. "I didn't tell you the whole truth." My stomach tightened. The room wasn't an accident? It was, but not completely. I frowned. "What does that mean?" He took a deep breath. "I couldn't afford the 2-bedroom." I blinked. "What?" "I lost my job 6 weeks ago." Everything stopped. What? I've been doing delivery gigs. You never said anything. I didn't want anyone to know. I leaned against the sink. Noah continued. I kept applying everywhere. Nothing worked out. So why come on this trip? Because you needed it. That confused me. My mom passed away 4 months ago, he said softly. You've barely smiled since. He was right. I'd buried myself in work after losing my mother. When Noah suggested a weekend road trip to the mountains, he'd said it would help me breathe again. I never knew he was struggling himself. I already paid the deposit before losing my job, he explained. When it came time to finish paying, I couldn't afford the room we'd planned. So you downgraded? He nodded. I figured we'd laugh about it. You could have told me. I know. Why didn't you? He looked embarrassed. Because you've helped me so many times over the years. He smiled sadly. I wanted to pay for something myself. That hit harder than I expected. Growing up, Noah's family had struggled financially. Mine wasn't wealthy, but my parents had always helped when they could. Over the years I'd quietly covered meals, rent once, even helped repair his truck. I never kept score. Apparently he had. I didn't want to feel like the charity case again, he admitted. I sat beside him on the bathroom floor. For a while neither of us spoke. Then I remembered something my mother used to say. Real friendship isn't measured by who pays. It's measured by who stays. I hadn't thought about those words since her funeral. Until now. I nudged Noah's shoulder. You idiot. He laughed. I know. You've been carrying all this alone. I didn't want to ruin your trip. You almost ruined it by staying silent. He nodded. Fair. We sat there smiling for the first time all day. Finally I stood. Come on. What? The bed. No. Yes. I'm not taking half. You're not taking half. What do you mean? I'm taking the left side because I snore. He laughed louder. You absolutely do. And if you complain, I'll snore on purpose. He shook his head. You haven't changed. Neither have you. The next morning everything felt different. Not because the room had changed. Because we had. We grabbed breakfast downstairs. The waitress noticed us laughing. You boys look happier than yesterday. We finally got some sleep, I said. Mostly true. After breakfast we drove toward the mountains. Halfway there we spotted an elderly couple standing beside an old pickup truck with smoke pouring from the hood. Everyone else drove past. Noah slowed immediately. We should stop. We did. The couple had been trying to reach their granddaughter's college graduation. Their truck had overheated. No cell service. No nearby town. Without hesitation Noah offered them our back seats. We'll get you there. What about your plans? The older man asked. They can wait, Noah answered. The gratitude on their faces reminded me exactly why he'd always been my best friend. Not because he was perfect. Because kindness was simply who he was. We drove them nearly 40 minutes out of our way. The grandmother kept apologizing. Noah smiled every single time. It's just time. When we finally reached the campus, the older woman hugged both of us. She whispered, "You have no idea what this means." Actually, I think we did. As we walked back toward our car, I looked at Noah. You know something? What? You would have stopped even if we were late. Probably. You would have shared your last dollar too. He shrugged. My dad always said money comes back. And people? Sometimes they don't. That sentence stayed with me. Later that afternoon we found a quiet overlook above the valley. Wind rustled through the trees. Clouds drifted across the blue sky. For the first time in months, I didn't feel crushed by grief. I just felt present. I turned toward Noah. "Thank you." "For what?" "For dragging me out here. You would have done the same." "I know." He smiled. "You already have." On the drive home I secretly booked another hotel for the following weekend. 2 queen beds. When I showed Noah the confirmation, he groaned. "You didn't have to." "I know. But this time," I said, "you're buying breakfast." He grinned. "I can afford pancakes." "Good. And Ethan?" "Yeah. Thanks for not making me feel small." I shook my head. Friends don't do that. Months later Noah found a better job than the one he'd lost. A great one. He slowly rebuilt his savings. One evening an envelope arrived in my mailbox. Inside was a handwritten note and a gift card for the exact amount he'd secretly downgraded on that hotel reservation. At the bottom he wrote, "You once told me that family isn't always the people you're born with. Sometimes it's the people who choose to stay. Thanks for staying." I never used the gift card. Instead, I tucked the note into the same wooden box where I kept my mother's letters. Because some things are worth far more than money. A hotel room with 1 king bed could have become the story of an argument. Instead, it became the story of honesty, forgiveness, and a friendship that proved real wealth isn't found in bigger rooms, perfect plans, or expensive vacations. It's found in the people who quietly carry your burdens, even while hiding their own, and in the friends who remind you that sharing a little discomfort is a small price to pay for never letting someone face life alone.